This is the audio script that you will listen while doing your test in part 3 of your listening test in the IELTS, in the IELTS, what is it, IELTS test. And part 3 begins. Annie and Jack, two students, so they are talking about refrigerators, refrigerations, and the transportation of things which are refrigerated and they need to reach fresh to different distant places. Anyway, they have to make presentations, a kind of tutorial. I mean, it is not familiar. This process tutorial is not the part of our education system, and that's important in other countries, but I'm sorry, it's absent here in our culture. So that adds up to the difficulty of the students, candidates who are appearing from this area. They may be familiar if they have been in other countries, but if they have never been to any other countries, they have never traveled far away from their hometown, they may have a bit difficulty to understand this type of conversation. Anyway, it was only to make you familiar with this type of conversation related to fridges, their impacts on the environment. Okay, I'm going to start without wasting much time. Part 3. Okay, Jack, beware. We plan our presentation about refrigeration. Let's discuss what we've discovered so far. Fine, Annie. Though I have to admit, I haven't done much research yet for me, but I found an interesting article about ice houses. I'd seen some 18th and 19th century ones here in the UK, so I knew they were often built in a shady area or underground, close to lakes that might freeze in the winter. Then blocks of ice could be cut and stored in the ice house. But I didn't realize that insulating the blocks with straw or sawdust meant they didn't melt for months. The ancient Romans had refrigeration too. I didn't know that. Yes, pits were dug in the ground and snow was imported from the mountains, even though they were at quite a distance. The snow was stored in the pits, ice formed at the bottom of it. Both the ice and the snow were then sold. The ice cost as some the ice cost more than the snow, and my guess is that only the wealthy members of society could afford it. I wouldn't be surprised. I also came across an article about modern domestic fridges. Several different technologies are used, but they were too complex for me to understand. You have to wonder what happens when people get rid of old ones. You mean because the gases in them are harmful for the environment? Exactly. At least there are now plenty of organizations that will recycle most of the components safely. But of course, some people just dump old fridges in the countryside. It's hard to see how they can be stopped, unfortunately. In the UK, we get rid of 3 million ice years altogether. That sounds a lot, especially because fridges hardly ever break down. That's right. In this country, we keep domestic fridges for 11 years on average, and a lot last for 70 or more. So if you divide the cost by number of years, you can use the fridge. They are not expensive compared with some household appliances. Two, I suppose manufacturers encourage people to spend more by making them different colors and designs. I'm sure when my parents bought this their first fridge, they had hardly any choice. Yes, that's been quite a change. Right. Let's make a list of topics to cover in our presentation and decide who is going to do more research on them. Then later we can get together and plan the next step. Okay. How about starting with how useful refrigeration is and the range of goods that are refrigerated nowadays? Because, of course, it is not just food and drinks. No, I suppose flowers and medicines are refrigerated too. And computers. I could do that unless you particularly want to. No, that's fine by me. What about the effects of refrigeration on people's health? After all, some of the chemicals used in the 19th century were pretty harmful, but there have been lots of benefits too, like always having access to fresh food. Do you fancy dealing with that? I do not, I'm not terribly keen, to be honest. Nor me. My mind just goes blank when I read anything about chemicals. Oh, all right then. I'll do you a favor. A month you owe me, Jack. Okay, what about the effects on food products like farmers in poor countries being able to export their produce to developed countries? Something for you, maybe. I don't mind. It should be quite interesting. I think we should also look at how refrigeration has helped the whole cities, like has Vegas, which couldn't exist without refrigeration because it's in the middle of a desert. Right. I had a quick look at an economic book in the library, and that's got a chapter about this sort of thing. I could give you the title if you want to do this section. Not particularly, and to be honest. I find economics books pretty heavy going as a rule. Okay, leave it to me then. Thanks. Then there is transport and the difference that refrigerated trucks have made. I wouldn't mind having a go at that. Don't forget trains too. I read something about milk and butter being transported in refrigerated railroad cars in the USA right back in the 1840s. I hadn't thought of trains. Thanks. Can we have a separate section on domestic fridges? After all, they are something everyone's familiar with. What about splitting it into two? You could investigate 19th and 20th century fridges, and I'll concentrate on what's available these days and how manufacturers differentiate their products from those of their competitors. Okay, that would suit me. And in this way, and this part comes to an end. This was the audio script for the IELTS speaking test that students, mm, this type of audio that they have to listen and at the same time and do their test while listening it. Okay, so it was only to make you familiar what type of audio you will listen in the actual examination. Thank you for watching. Um, And in the end, the formal request, if you have not yet, please subscribe to my channel and press like and bell button to get the fresh from me. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time and goodbye.